Kyle, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here and stoked that you even reached out for me to be a guest here.
Hey, glad you're here. So, you're an entrepreneur. What have been your biggest struggles as an entrepreneur?
Biggest struggles I've had, man, is really finding my just really finding my way, right? I'm like a serial entrepreneur. I've tried a bunch of different businesses and found that I actually don't like a lot of the businesses.
Mm,
I like the idea of business, and I like business as a whole, but when I was talking to my great uncle who has a pretty successful business and talked to him about what he did, he has a coffee roastery. Like, man, the first time I drank coffee, yeah, I knew this was gonna be my life. I was like, man, I wish I had that with something. like I don't
right,
have that passion. Like I just like business. I want to be in business. I want to work for myself. And so it's been really the biggest struggle has just been the journey of really trying to find something that I can see myself really doing for a long term and having a bit of passion about it. I'm coming to terms that it really is just helping people, and that's what I've always, ever since I've been younger too. Like I do so much more for somebody else than I do for myself, and I've always just been that way. I like to see people be happy and reach their goals and things like that. And so I've tried things like Amazon FBA, a clothing brand. Like I've tried so many business ideas, I forget about some of the ones I've even tried. I tried a clothing brand. I still have like 500 pairs of shoes in my garage back home. I'm here in Prague at the moment, traveling with the family and stuff. I tried clothing brand. I've tried Amazon FBA. I tried Amazon merch also, which is like kind of like T-shirt designs and stuff like that. Like making beef jerky and selling it. And then I found out that I needed like a commercial kitchen, and I didn't want to go through all that, and so I got in trouble. So I stopped doing that. Social media management, and then COVID kind of shut me down on that. And you might be like, well, that's an online thing. Why did it shut you down? It's like, well, the clients I was going for were all in person kind of situations.
right.
And that's like, and I had it all built out. And then COVID happened and all my canceled. I had like two or three contracts that got ended because of that. Well, I ended them. I feel like I was just trying to do something just to do it. And I didn't really have a big why or reason behind it. I was like, I just want to try and make money. And I've been finding that just wanting to make money isn't strong enough for most people. Some people it is, but for me personally, I need something much stronger. And yeah, so that's been the biggest struggle is just really trying to find my own way. And now with what I'm doing, I'm pretty in line with where I want to be with helping people. Definitely on that trajectory, and then I want to get to a place where I'm doing it in a bigger and grander way as well.
Right. That concept of money not being enough for the majority of people, I think it really sits well for people who have an idea of, I just want to make a lot of money. It doesn't really matter to me how it happens or how I do it. And that's where malintent comes in, or, not caring about who gets hurt along the way. Money can do a lot of things, right? You need money to survive. But I don't think it brings fulfillment. Like, for example, your desire and natural ability to help people, that's what's going to bring you fulfillment. And if you can do that within business while you're making money, that's the greatest combination ever. But I
Mhm.
feel like it's one of those things where if you just have one without the other, like you just have a lot of money, but you have zero sense of fulfillment in your life, it's like, well, there's a huge disconnect.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like been tons of stories about that, right? It's like, man, I have all the money, but like for what? And you also have the people that are just love the game. Like you have Alex Hormozy and Gary V, right? I think they're big examples of people that's like, I just love the game. I just want to figure out how to make money. I'll go flip stuff at garage sales with Gary V. Or Alex Hormozy is like, I had a bunch of businesses and I've scaled them all to a lot. It's like I didn't really just focus on one thing, kind of spread out. And so I think there are people that can just do it for the game, right? And just for the business. And like that's where I thought I was. But really finding that my passion is in helping people. And just so context, I don't think I mentioned what I do. I do sales consulting and I fulfill for sales as well. So I get people basically to get a service that they actually want and need. They usually raise their hand, say, hey, I'm interested, I want this. And then I see where they're at and see if this is really the best fit for them and help them do that. And I do that for one company at the moment. And I'm looking for a second client as well. So kind of building up my portfolio and making that happen. Just sort of context for everybody watching. So there are people that do that, that just do it for the love of the game. And I thought I was that person, but at the end of the day, as I wasn't, because I was kind of hitting too many roadblocks on things like the clothing brand. And how do I sell shoes? I don't know why I did this. I don't know. I had 500 pairs of shoes manufactured in China for me and shipped over to me, and then I got them. Now I have them physical stock in my hands. I'm like, now I just need to sell them. Thought my idea was at the time, right? Stupid me. And this is actually right when I got into big into marketing. I found out there's a big gap in my skill set.
Uh-huh.
I got these shoes and I tried to freaking start selling them. I listed them on like all the platforms like OfferUp and all the other kind of things. Like there's like a bunch of them,
Yeah.
Mercari and some other ones. And so I was trying to sell them and like I wasn't getting anybody interested. And I was like, man, I thought this would be like a post it and then it'd sell and it'd take a while, but maybe I get a sale a week and or a sale a month, but it's like zero. I was like, man, this is gonna be harder than I thought. And then I tried to do paid advertising with them, and that flopped. I spent like $1,000 in ads. I got 2 sales from it, and I was like selling them for like $40 a pair. And so I was like,
Mhm.
well, definitely lost money on that. And so it's definitely I like the fact that I've done these businesses, right? I've done these things and I've learned a lot from hands-on experience. Like I put a lot of like the shoes, that whole endeavor was about $20,000. And I learned a lot. I learned how to talk with manufacturers. I learned that physical stock and holding on to that sucks. Figuring that out, especially when you're brand new and not knowing what's going on. Marketing is not as easy as just posting an ad and people come, or just putting stuff out on marketplace doesn't mean it's necessarily going to sell all the time. So there's a lot more nuances that go into things, and I had the mentality like if you build it, they will come. And I guess I just didn't build it the right way, or what have you. So hands-on situations and going through my journey and coming to a point where I really do just like helping and talking with people and getting them to a place where they can start their own business, where I kind of design their own lifestyle kind of situation. And that's ultimately
Right.
where I want to be.
Think a lot of people can look at the situations that you've been in, like, let's say they were in your shoes, $20,000 later and you made 2 sales, people are like, "Business, I'm giving up. I'm going the safe route. I'm doing this instead," or whatever it is, right? And I think there's such a valuable lesson within your experiences to fail at multiple businesses or, have them not scale to where you want them to be, and still have the motivation or at least the desire within your soul to keep doing it until something works out. And then it seems like as of now, you're getting to where you want to be. And it's like you had to go through those failures to get there. And it's like if you didn't go through them, maybe if one of those maybe let's say the shoe business did work out, maybe things would be good for you. Or maybe, you'd be making good money, but you wouldn't be fulfilled. It's like, who knows?
Yeah, I feel it would be the I would be making good money at it, but I wouldn't be fulfilled. Because I was feeling that even when I was like, I was kind of just when I decided to make the shoes in the first place, and turned my whole idea was I was going to build a clothing brand from the shoes up, from the ground up. Right, I was going to start with shoes, sell those, then I had some like jeans, and then add like a shirt, and like make this whole outfit, and then once that kind of went, then go to the next outfit and start from the ground up again, and then hopefully it'd catch on, and people would be excited to see what the next item was, right, and like kind of like have a little thing, but obviously it didn't even the shoes didn't even go off yet, and I still have those sitting in my garage. And I've tried different ways to sell them, and I haven't never figured it out. But the main thing here is that I think is important for entrepreneurs is that you have to be resilient and keep going. Now, I would usually advise that you got to do it in one thing that you actually choose and like to do. I've just been jumping from thing to thing because I realized that, and especially now I've realized that I've been trying to plug myself into other people's systems most of the time and their business models and what they've done to become successful. Whereas really what I want is I want to build my own thing and make it my own personal journey and not be like, yeah, I did plug myself into this guy's systems and it worked and now I'm just making money. I want to be like, no, I built this from the ground up and I've designed it to in a way that matches exactly the lifestyle I want. And that's kind of exactly what's been kind of happening with where I'm at. And so very happy with where I've gotten myself to. And also in sales, something that's I've learned and mastering this skill set is that persistence is key. And like every time basically a business fails, right? It's like a no. And in sales, every time you hear a no, you're closer to a yes. which then also means every time you hit a fail, that means you're closer to a success. And so that's kind of how I kind of see it. I'm like, every time I fail, that gets me closer to my goal. So embracing failure is super important and not being like, oh no, failure, being like, oh heck yeah, I failed. I can't wait to fail again. Obviously trying not to fail, but
It's such a positive idea, not in the good positive, but a positive meaning, a broad idea that most people adopt of, failure is horrible. Like if I fail once, like I'm done. There's nothing I can do. But I think there's within failures within any realm of life, no matter how big or small, I mean, there's lessons to be learned. Maybe you did something wrong. Maybe you said something you shouldn't have. Maybe you said something in a different way, whereas if you said it in this way would have been better. Now, it's never good to ruminate about it and sit in your room for the rest of the night and say, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But what is important, just to realize why it happened. If it was your fault, what can you improve upon? If it was someone else's or some other situation, if it happens again, you can better deal with it when it comes. And just analyzing these failures, in my eyes, like I don't even like to see them as failures because they're real opportunities for growth. I think real failure is when something doesn't go as planned. It goes in a more negative way than you thought, and then you call it quits. You say, okay, I'm done. I can't do it. And it's like
yeah,
that is the biggest failure ever. I'm just saying, no, I'm done. I'm giving up.
exactly. And that's another thing I believe big on too is you can't fail if you don't quit. Like when I was stationed out in Afghanistan with the Navy, I was out there for like a little 6 month stint. And one of the things to do when you're off time, not much to do. You like work out, or you go to this little rec hall where you can do like cornhole or like ping pong. And so I would sit there and I'd be playing ping pong, and there's this lady there. She was really good, and she just always wrecked me. And I would just keep playing until she stopped playing. I was like, I'm gonna freaking beat you, and I don't think I ever did, but I was like, I'm not quitting. Like, I'll keep playing. She's like, okay, let's go. Like, just hours, just playing. I'm like, don't you got something to do? Like, don't you have a job or something? Like, why are you still here? And I thought it was awesome because she would just keep playing too, right? She really loved the game, and I wanted, and I was kind of competitive, and I was like, how can I not beat you? Like, how am I not getting good enough? And then like I get to a place where I almost win, and then she just actually turn it on and then destroy me. I'm like, are you a professional? What's happening here?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, right? If I would still be playing her now until I win, right? Um, and that's an important takeaway because if you don't stop, if you don't give up, you don't quit, then you don't lose, you don't fail. You're gonna
Right.
winning and success is inevitable if you never stop. So I think that's a very important lesson.
Something like that was a foreign concept, and it's like I think for a lot of people still, if I can't win now, if I can't get everything I want now, it's like, I don't have the motivation to keep going, to spend the time doing it. Do you have any ideas of for someone who doesn't have the drive to keep going and the persistence in terms of time, like let's say that like everyone wants everything overnight nowadays. For somebody who feels like they need it overnight, to shifting the mindset to, I know I'm gonna enjoy the journey, whether it takes a year or 10 years.
Yeah, and that's yeah, the instant gratification stuff that's going on, that's a whole nother topic we can get into.
Yeah.
Maybe a different podcast. I don't know. But the big thing is to like really understand because instant success, maybe you've seen it happen before, right? But it's like winning the lottery. It's not likely. You have to look at it like an investment. And even with investments, right? Like people are happy with a 4% return, 5% return. Like 4% is being safe. If you want to get riskier, like 10% is pretty nice. These a lot of people talk about getting into real estate, 20%, 15%, 20% return on real estate, stuff like that. Nothing is like, oh wow, boom, made it. Like everybody that makes their money and actually becomes millionaires, they invest a lot of their money, and then over time it builds up, and it builds up slowly. Builds up 4, 5 to 10% a year. So if you have $100,000 invested, then you make $10,000 a year off that, and then you reinvest it. You just reinvest it. It's a long game. It always is, and always has been. And I've been fortunate enough to have this mindset even when I was younger. But when I was younger, some of my friends would be getting in trouble with credit card debt and stuff like that. And it never made sense to me to borrow money that I didn't have. especially for things that were like liabilities, right? And I didn't think about things in terms of that back then. I just was like, I don't want to spend money I don't have. I'd rather just buy everything cash, and then or I use my credit card but pay it off immediately, just so I can get that extra 1%, 2% cash back kind of situation.
Right.
Instant gratification thing is it's getting pretty crazy these days, and you just have to really just realize and look at the world that and tell yourself the story, right? Because whatever story you tell yourself is what you start to believe. And so if you start telling yourself, yeah, this is a long game, I have to keep pushing, there's going to be hard times, there's going to be failures, but I have to embrace the failures and keep pushing forward. And if I don't quit, then I will win. Like that's the story I keep
Right.
telling myself. That's what keeps me going, right? It's like I only failed if I quit. If I died and nothing became as successful as I want, but I felt like I was always trying, I'd die happy, saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
I was giving it my best shot, and maybe not even my best shot. I was giving it a shot." Like there's times
Yeah.
where I feel like, man, what am I doing today? You know, like I've slacked off so bad. Like I should have been doing this or that or this, and it's okay to have those days too, right? It's all
Right.
part of relaxing and getting back into things. You just have to change your mindset. You really
Yeah.
do, because if you don't, you're gonna be struggling.
And I think especially because of, something like social media and people who are, successful in a certain niche or a certain type of business is so present on there. It's like the second they appear and they have a certain amount of followers, I think a lot of us have this perception of just like they just made it like that, right? But it's like and I think even a lot of these guys will say like, no, this took me 5, 10 years. This took this amount of failures, but people will still think that it happened overnight. And it's like, I think it leads. I know when I first started seeing that, I think it starts to lead to everyone to believe, like, why can't I have that? Why can't I get the overnight success? Why don't I have 20 million followers? Why am I not making $100 million a year? Right. And it's like, well, I think the beauty about these certain business owners, for example, being present on social media is they have a lot of advice and a lot of good opinions and things that they've done and failed at and advice to offer people. But I don't think we really take that advice. I think we're just like we're still stuck up on the fact that they have more money than us and they're successful and we're not right now. But the healthiest way to look at it is, hey, I like this. I like this guy. It looks like he's built something. What are all of the lessons that he's trying to teach the people that are watching his content? And it's like, how can I apply those to my life? How can I apply that to my business? How can I apply that to my mindset? How can I apply it to my relationship, et cetera, et cetera? It's instead of looking at all these guys and saying, oh, I can't believe they're successful and I'm not. It's how can I get to that place or be better or be to even a similar level? And it's like, take the lessons that they're offering because a lot of the time they are there.
Yeah, exactly. I find myself doing that a lot with. Um, Recently, I kind of been a big Alex Hormozy fanboy, if you would, and I found out he's like the same age as me. I was like, what in the world? This guy, man. And I'm like, I find myself doing that comparison, right? And I think comparison isn't really healthy a lot
Mhm.
of the time, but I also am competitive. And so I feel like it maybe helps in some situations. But uh, so I see Alex Hormozy and I'm like, man, this guy's freaking figuring it out. And he's doing stuff. And he's at a level that I don't even want to be at, right?
Hmm.
I was like, I want a fraction of what he has. Like I'm looking for like $1 million a year business, like maybe a 40%, 30% profit margin. I'd be happy with that. Once you get there, and then you get new goals and you keep growing. And that's everybody that's above me and all the people, all my mentors and stuff. They always say the same thing, like, "Oh, you say that now." But I find myself comparing myself all the time. But I also do the same thing. I'm like, man, what can I learn from him? Because he's doing things right. He's made better decisions than I have throughout his life, and I need to kind of model after that, figure out what he's doing correctly, so I can start kind of modeling that. And that's another big thing too about business is a lot of people do want to recreate the wheel, and like I said, like I'm trying to build my own thing.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it's also really important to model things after people, because if you don't model things after people and you really are just reinventing the wheel from the ground up from scratch, it's going to be so much harder. And entrepreneurship's already hard enough. It's a lonely road. It's hard. Like it's hard to be around like-minded people all the time. That's a big thing that I took a while for me to get to, because like I just had my friends, and a lot of them, like I'd say my goals and they scoff and be like, yeah, right, good luck, like that sounds impossible. And like, that's how a lot of people are just like wired. But then you start getting into like different mentorships and getting a mentor to surround yourself with the right people, start networking, and then just like talking with people, and you start building up your little, I like to call it my little wolf pack, right? You got like a little
Yeah.
um, group of people that are just like, heck yeah, we're doing this. And actually, what I found too is like your wolf pack is kind of has to be savage sometimes. Like your wolf pack, like I have my wolf pack, right? And I've had people in it that I've been just like they had to go. They're left in
Mm,
the dust, like they aren't keeping up. And like they're not like reaching out for help from people that are like, if I was in a situation where I was in a wolf pack, I'm gonna keep using this term for whatever reason, but if I was in this wolf pack and someone just like started taking off, I'd be like, whoa, whoa, hey, like take me with you, like I'd be like, what can I do to help you? Like show me what you're doing correctly because I'm not getting it. Um, but I've done that, right? I've been in a wolf pack and I'm like, boom, I'm ahead of you now, and no one's reached out. I'm like,
mm.
I'm happy to help everybody. Like we were in this together. I don't know why you guys aren't keeping up, but if you wanted some advice, 'cause I don't know, I'm not going to go out of my way and just start talking to everybody and using up my time because my time's pretty valuable, right? I'm not going to be like, hey, everybody, like, do you want to know what I did? Like maybe if I had something to sell them, but like if they should have reached out to me, in my opinion, right, and been like, hey, like, how did you do that? Like, what is it that you're doing? And I'd be happy to hop on a call, even just like this, and talk with them and be like, yeah, like, well, let's see what you're doing now and how we can fix that. I think a lot of that too is though people are scared of change a lot, even in entrepreneur space when you have been working on your mindset and you're like, man, change is scary. And that's kind of even a season that I'm in at the moment. I'm pretty comfortable with the position that I'm at with currently. And I've been finding that it's hard for me to push through that comfort into the next step
Mm,
in the evolution in my business. It's just so interesting to me because like I was like when I started this journey, I was like, yeah, like the goal is 30,000 a month, let's go. And now I'm at like 10,000 a month currently.
mhm.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm like one third of the way there, but I'm supporting my family off this full time. I'm able to travel Europe, like I said, we're in Europe for 3 months. Still paying rent for a place back home that's decently expensive, like 3,000 a month. Going to Italy. We just got back from Greece like 2 days ago. Next weekend, I'm thinking about taking a little quick weekend trip to Amsterdam. I just feel like I just got so comfortable because like this provided that for me and my family, right? And I'm like, okay, this is good, right? And there's a saying, right? I don't even know who said it, but I'm super bad with quoting people's names.
Like, it's like good is good, but you want great.
Yeah, good is the enemy of great. That's what it is. Good is the
Okay.
enemy of great, right? If you feel good, you can be stuck at good forever. But if you want to be great, you got to push past that and get uncomfortable again. And that's where I'm at. Like I've been like, okay, how do I make this next step? How do I make this next leap? Been trying here and there to do little things, and I just don't think I'm putting as much work as I should be to do that because I'm in good, right? And that's
Right.
something to look out for too as an entrepreneur.
That's a really good point you brought up because I mean, that's not even something that I've thought about too often. But you can make a lot of progress and then get to a place where you're comfortable again, like a good comfortable, like you were talking about. But, I think in a lot of cases, we're not finished. I don't think as human beings we're ever going to be finished products. But at that point, when you're good and it's like, all right, well, I'm doing a lot better than before, but there's still room for improvement. And looking at that in a positive way, not like, oh, I still have to do shit. It's like, no, I still have to do stuff. Like I enjoy doing this and I
I
want
still
to grow
get
more.
to do stuff. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, because I mean, I've learned that learning is really the fruit of life. It's like once you stop learning, you think you know it all. Your soul dies. It's like there's nothing left for you if you know everything. And the fact of the matter is, nobody will ever know anything. I mean, I think about the most basic example of like how many different jobs there are out there that like maybe I meet someone, I'm like, hey, what do you do? And they're like, oh, I do this, and I'm like, I've never heard of that in my entire life. Like I was talking to a professor who teaches math, and he was telling me about someone he knows that you know how some towns have like water towers.
Hmm.
Someone he knew, his job is to paint the water towers every few years whenever they need painting. It's like, I didn't even know people did that. So it's like these just like something like that and how you do that, and then applying that to also things like within mindset, within business, with every realm of life. There is so much information that you don't know and you will never know, but it's I found, it's very enjoyable to learn new things. And asking
Mhm.
questions. I feel like asking questions is something I used to be afraid of. I think a lot of people still are. It's like, if someone's doing better than you or they know something that you don't, and like I get it, like, for example, I used to be really insecure with myself. So, a few years back, it's like if someone we're in a group of people and someone brought a concept up and said, oh, this, and this, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, yeah," and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about, but I didn't have the confidence to say, "Oh, what do you mean by that?" But now it's like, someone says something, and I don't know what they're saying. "Oh, what do you mean by that?" And it's like, then they tell you, right? And it's like, that's how you learn by,
And the cool
building,
thing is
yeah.
that was never even a big deal. You just always thought it was, but like if anything, sometimes it even gets a conversation going and makes the hangout, whatever was going on, even more enjoyable. So you added value to the conversation and stuff instead of not sharing that you didn't know, because like maybe other people are also doing the same thing that you did, right? Where
Mm.
they're like, I don't know, but oh yeah, I'll get it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
look
yeah.
smart and act smart. But if you, because like something big, and that's actually leads to a point of something that's been big for me, I think, in my development, is that I'm really big on putting myself out there, asking questions. Sometimes I ask questions that it's like sometimes you get a question and you answer it yourself, like, oh yeah, I got it, actually.
Mhm.
Sometimes I have that question, I answer it myself, but I'm like, wait, well, what if someone else has the question but didn't answer it themselves? So I still ask the question. And sometimes they are stupid questions. People say there's sometimes stupid questions. Like sometimes I feel like they're kind of more obvious questions, but I still ask it. And a lot of people be worried not to do that, right? Because they don't want to come off as looking stupid. But I don't care if I come off looking stupid because I'm trying to come here and learn. And like if I'm engaging in this thing and I have the opportunity to ask a question, then obviously I want to learn about it. And like looking stupid for a second has no effect on my long-term goal. In fact, every position that I've ever been in when I used to like work like a job, I'd always be the person that asked the most questions, put myself out there, and I'd be the person I'd come in and I'd be like number one within 3 months. And it was like, how did you do it? It's like, you've been watching me this whole time. I just ask questions and I put myself out there and I tell people where I want to be and what my goals are, and then they ultimately try to help you get there. Like, well, sure, that sounds like a good path, and here's how we can do that for you. Other people are too
Mm.
scared to even put themselves out there and tell the world what they want and make things happen for themselves. They're just like kind of maybe it's insecurity or what have you, but that's been a huge thing in my development that's helped me a lot and also gets me comfortable with being uncomfortable, or what most people think would be uncomfortable. It's become comfortable for me to be uncomfortable, really.
Right. I think almost everything in life comes down to caring about what other people think. It's like you either care too much or you care too little, or you have that good medium in the middle. And it's like, most of what holds people back is, they care about what other people are gonna think. Like, you were speaking of Hormozy before. I know he was on one of my favorite podcasters is Chris Williamson, and he had Hormozy on, and he was talking about how sometimes it's just one person that is holding you back. It's like I want to start this business, I want to elevate in this, I want to start working on this, develop this skill, but I feel like something's holding me back. Tom, it's not even like the whole world. That's I don't. I'm so worried about what the world's gonna think of what I'm doing. It's just Tom, and then Hormozy was like, "Do I really care about what Tom thinks?" It's like, no, no, I don't. It's like, come on.
Yeah, in that interview, he said, yeah, it's like as if you identify what it is, who it is, it's much more easier to confront it. But if you don't know, it's like, I don't know why I feel this way. What's going on? But if you confront, you're like, wait, it's Tom. And I always think that's an interesting concept because like I find it in myself too. Like I don't know why I feel this way. Why
Hmm.
do I feel this way? And you have to like actually like work on discovering that. I always think that's so weird that you don't just inherently know. Just like the same reason why you don't know why you don't want to make this decision, and it's because of Tom. once you actually discover it, right? You're like, why was that an issue? Like, it's just so weird. And it's weird that you didn't inherently know that it was Tom from the beginning too, right?
Mm,
And so I think that self discovery and looking into things like that is really important too, because just like you said, it's like you find out something and you're like, that is such a weird thing, and I didn't know, and it's not a problem, but I made it a problem
yeah.
in my like psyche or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think so many of us are so used to making excuses for ourselves that it's just the norm for our life. It's like if any positive opportunity comes our way or any positive idea, it's like, okay, but how is it going to go wrong? And why is it not going to work out? And it's like these are the first things that come to a lot of people's minds. I mean, and it used to be for me. And it's like, the question, I think there was a quote that goes along with it, although I don't remember what it is, but it's like, instead of asking yourself all the time, it's like, what's going to go wrong? It's like, what if you ask yourself what's going to go right? It's like, then that opens up a whole new room, a whole new realm of opportunities for yourself. Because I think for so many of us, there's always so many opportunities in front of us. We just blind ourselves to not even see them and that they're there.
Well, and there's a lot of stuff that Mosey talks about that really kind of helps with mindset, I think. Like like one of the things he talks about is even like, yeah, and right? It's like, okay, and and it's like just asking that simple question is like, yeah, and so what? You're right. What the heck? I think that frame is just super good. Like it's like it doesn't matter what people think. It's just yeah, like and
Yeah. And I think it really comes down to realizing that, like, truly realizing, like, everyone knows, like, yeah, this is your life and you're in this body and you have this mind, but it's like really realizing this is who you're spending 24/7 with. I need to do this stuff. I need to do what's going to fulfill me and not what Tom is telling me to do, because who cares? Because what Tom wants me to do isn't what I want to do for myself, and I'm not going to be fulfilled if I just listen to what he says. Um, and your point before about surrounding yourself with the right people is super important. And even at the times when you aren't surrounded by the right people, I think in a lot of cases, sometimes for a certain period of time, we need social connection as human beings. But I think for sometimes it's better to be alone and feel a little bit lonely rather than be surrounded by 50 people who are holding you back and dragging you down, right?
yeah.
Then because if you're lonely but you're working on your goals, at least you got something. But if you're surrounded by a bunch of people that don't support you, you're going to be lonely still, and you're not going to be working on your goal. So that's the double horrific outcome.
Yeah, I actually had a really real example 2 years ago or something, a year and a half, something like that. I actually we like broke up with a friend, right? Because of that exact reason. Like they're just gonna drag you down. Their mindset was just so they weren't there to help. They're there to try and keep you down, right? They're trying to pull you down for sure. And I felt that, and it was one of the realest examples that I had because like I was because he wanted to do YouTube and do YouTube videos and stuff, and I was like almost every chance that I had, I'd be like, "Hey man, you should like just trying to motivate him to get it out. Like you should do your videos, man. Edit them. You said you have like 500 hours of videos to edit through, man. Like get after it. I want to see that YouTube grow. Like let's go." Um, and I think there came a point because I was also growing during that time, and I was like sharing my wins with him, and instead of like sharing that win with me, he started getting resentment and started seeing it as me bragging. And I guess I can see how it could sound like bragging, but I was just excited. I was making things happen. 'Cause I had come from a place where I was like living off my savings and I wasn't really doing too hot to a place where, holy crap, I just had a $9,000 month. Are you kidding me? This is crazy. And he'd be like, oh, wow, good for you. And this is a guy that's like working two jobs, making like 5,000 a month, maybe like maybe not even that. I'm not exactly sure where he was at, but the money that I was kind of making, like he didn't even really fathom. He's like, we talked about it at one point. He was like, the stuff that you're saying sounds like stuff you have to scam people for. Like, I don't get
Mm,
it. And then like also a concept I have is like I like to reward myself, right? Like if I had a thing where it was like, if I had a $10,000 month, oh, I'm gonna go buy a new laptop. I'm gonna buy a new little thing to get it because like I need it. but I could deal with the systems and the stuff I have right now until I had that. Then I can reward myself with the new thing, and then oh my god, life's so much easier. And I was telling him that I was like, yeah, man, like I need to hit this specific number or beat it, and then I can buy myself this thing. He's like, well, you have the money now. I just go buy it. I was like, well, that's. I mean, sure, yeah, I guess I could, but like that's not. Doesn't I don't. Where's the reward? You know? And it's like it's like I just don't get it. And he's also part of the reason why me and him had to part ways. And this is like outgrowing your friends. Like I always heard people saying it, right? And I always like was like, this
Mhm.
is crazy. Like, yeah, right. I've never. But this literally is like what happened. And I was like, holy crap, you really do outgrow your friends. This is crazy. Um, and he was in the mindset that he's like, I have the money, I'm just gonna buy it. Like, okay, got it. But like, and him and his wife are really big in just buying stuff. I try to be pretty minimalistic, and I was like, man, you guys buy a lot of stuff, and they'd like not just buy stuff for themselves, they buy stuff for other people, and it seems really nice. Like I don't really like getting stuff bought for me, but it seems really nice when people buy stuff for you, right? But I'm like, I think you guys just have a spending problem. I think you guys just
Mhm.
like to spend money and buy things, and that was another big thing, right? Of uh, of why I had to part ways and move on because he just couldn't understand making even 10,000 a month, and I still feel like 10,000 a month isn't enough. It's not.
Right.
It's not. It's like it's such a little amount compared to what's out there and what's possible. He was like just so bewildered that that just didn't make any sense. And he got to a point where he resented me so much, and like no matter what I said, he took it in a negative light.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't be around. This is crazy. I can't be around this.
Right.
Like I thought we were friends. Like why are you not supporting me right now and being like, yeah, let's go. Like, or even like again, if I was in his situation, if I was leaving the wolf pack, I'd be like, instead of being like resenting you and hating you and be like trying to drag you down, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, how can I implement these things and get to a place where, because obviously you're ahead of me in income. Can I learn that? Or is it like something that's like takes 10 years to learn and I don't really want to dedicate to? Can I learn it in 3 months? Like teach me. Like that's what I would happen if people were doing that in my sphere. But like people don't do that. People rather get angry about where they're at and project that onto you and try to pull you back and get you into where they're comfortable seeing you. And it's just like
Yeah.
having that really weird, real example of that in my life was such a very interesting situation. I
Right.
hope I don't go through that too many more times, um, because he was like one of my longest friends, and I was like
Yeah.
literally as like a best man at his wedding and stuff. And so it's hard. That's why another reason why being an entrepreneur is hard is because like you have these dreams and goals that other people just can't fathom and believe, and you have to like keep pushing through that. And because they will try to drag you down, and people say that all the time, like, and just having that real example is so I don't know. I don't even know the word. My brain's blanking on the word, but it's just like
Yeah.
yeah, a slap in the
I
face
mean, it,
almost, or a realization. So
yeah. It's. I mean, it's such a. It is such a weird concept, but I think we all fail to realize that people who are doing better than us, especially if they are close to us or have known each other for a long time, most of the time, I don't know everyone, so I can't guarantee it, but most of the time, your friend or your whoever will be willing to talk to you. It's like if you ask questions, they will be more than happy to answer it. It's like I give the example of let's say you're just starting out in the gym. You're a little overweight or you're too skinny in your eyes, right? And you see a guy who's like really big or he has a physique that you would like, right? Instead of looking at him and being like, I can't believe this guy has his physique. I mean, he must be on steroids, right? Instead of just assuming that, what if you just went up to him and said, "Hey, man, looks like you made a lot of progress. Where did you start? What exercises do you?" And just asking questions. And I guarantee you, this guy who has a really nice physique, probably loves the gym, probably loves talking about the gym, would be more than happy to say, oh, I do these exercises and this is what's helped me out the most. And then you come in with a little bit more of a positive mindset and your life is benefited too. Because that's the thing. It's like we don't want to benefit our lives, even though the opportunity is right there. If we just ask the questions, we would get the answers. But when we just say, oh no, they're just better than me, I can never be that way, or then just resent people, it's like, you know, you don't make any progress and your life still sucks. And it's to a large degree, when I think about this, I mean, it's sad because it's
yeah,
like, this guy, in your case, it's like this guy is someone that was close to you, and it's like, of course, you wanted to see him win, you want him to see good things too, but it's like, if And I think just if you're friends with someone, even if they are doing a billion times better than you, it's like you have to be able to be happy for them, even if it isn't something that they can pass on to you and you can learn to and learn lessons from. It's like just being able to be happy for your friend because that's what true friendship and like what true be caring about someone, resides in. It's like, if your friend can't be happy for you, it's like, what's left of that relationship together?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. And I like the point. I want to one up you even on not one up you, but challenge you further when talking with people in the gym, right? Approaching them, like it's crazy because like that information is 2 steps away. It takes 2 steps to walk over and be like, "Hey, man," and they will be happy to share exactly. But then even when you get to the point where you do take those 2 steps and you ask the question, and he tells you, and maybe he even gives you some anecdote, like, "Yeah, man, if you do these 3 workouts every day or every other day for the rest, like for a year, you'll have like a physique that's really similar to mine." You also have to take that information you learn and go implement. But most people will just be like, "Cool, now I know that," and that sounds like too much for me, and I don't actually. I guess I want that physique, but they'll sit there and still dream and act like they want that physique, but they won't put the action in that takes it. Right? They won't implement what they learn from asking those questions. And so, like, that's the next step. After taking those steps and learning, you actually have to take that information, implement. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting there, man. That guy has physique. Now that I kind of know the 3 works I do, like I know I need to do it, but I'm just not. It's like whose fault is it? It's like you have to hold yourself
Yeah.
accountable.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, that is something that I used to struggle with a lot in the past is, taking in so much information that I know was going to help me, but not applying it. And so it got to a point where I'm like, okay, well, I'm watching a bunch of YouTube videos on how to do this, this, and this. I have the information, but my life still sucks because I'm not actually doing anything with the information. And it's until you take action in physical reality, that's how you make stuff happen, and that's how you make dreams no longer dreams and they become your reality. And it's weird because when we grow up, we're brought up with this concept of you can be everything you've ever wanted and you can be whoever you want and do whatever you want and just have your dream come true. And then you get to an age in your early teenage years where people say, okay, now you have to start being realistic. And it's like, well, wait, hold on a second. You told me I could do anything I want. Now I have to be realistic and I have to go. The safe way is to just go to this job working for this corporation and make, and not do something I enjoy. Right. And it's like, it's breaking, it's understanding that that barrier and that concept is just super weird and that you have to break it if you want, because at that point once you go later in your teenage years you now have the mindset of, okay, now I have to be realistic. I wanted to be this when I was younger. No, I can't do that anymore because everyone else around you ingrained it into you that you couldn't do it anymore.
I think that's
But
hilarious that you brought that up.
understanding, yeah, and it's just understanding that maybe you can't be anything you want, but I think if whatever you wanted to be or you still want to be deep down, I think there's definitely a huge chance for it, and you just need to find the right people to connect with and the right advice to take and the right steps to take in your life to work towards that because it's the small steps that make up the big life.
Yeah, I never actually thought about that. About how when you are a kid, they're like, you can be the president, you can be an astronaut, you can be whatever you want. But then you become an adult, and it's like, nah, we lied. You can only do these things, and you're stuck in this small little box. That sucks, but that's what it is. And you're like, wait a second, what's happening? That's pretty hilarious. Because yeah, because I always like to say like, man, people always say like, man, you're such a kid. Like, I'm 32 years old, right? About to be 33 this year, and people think I'm like 24, 23, 22 a lot of times because I do act childish. Like I am I like try to I have like this fun energy and I like to like just run around and be weird sometimes and do random stuff and be sporadic and I always tell people like, yeah, I strive to be freaking a child, man. Like, and that's probably another reason why is because like they're so hopeful and have full of dreams. And then when you get older, the people just try to shut you down. It's like, no, I want to be childlike. I want to keep going and be hopeful and go for these dreams. And I think that's hilarious that you mentioned that because even though I had that thought and I thought about that, like I want to be childlike, what you just said even solidifies it even more, right? And I never
Right.
actually made
Yeah.
that connection.
That's also what I'm trying to in my life, embody more. And that's what keeps things fun because it's like if you just get late teenage years and then further, and you're just like, okay, well, I'm not a kid anymore. This is life. I have to go work and I have to do this. And you just get into the cycle doing the same thing every day. And you're just like, okay, well, this is just my life. If you can find ways to just embody a more fun and chill and light going, easygoing spirit, then that will apply to your work and that will apply to every other area of your life. And making time to do like fun things. Let's use a small example of like in my free time nowadays, once a week, I'll take like 2 hours at night. I'll play like Mario. I'll play like a Mario video game, right? And it's like that reminds me of when I was a kid, and I still enjoy doing it, right? I'm not spending all my days doing it because I am older now and I have stuff goals and work that I'm working towards. But it's like finding and making the time to it could be going mini golfing or whatever it is, anything that reminds you of what it was like to be a child, and have it remind you and allow you to try and incorporate it more into your life, because that's what makes things more fun. And I think sometimes even this has been a thing in my mind of like, let's use my last ex-girlfriend for example. When I like she's a very goofy, outgoing person, right? And at first sometimes it would annoy me a little bit. I'd be like, like, why do you have to act like this, whatever, right? But then I started to appreciate it, and I'm like, she's having fun, and she's enjoying her existence here on earth. And it's like, why am I looking at this as like this is annoying? It's like maybe I should try embody this too, and that's what I'm. She's taught me that, and I'm working on that in my life. So I mean, I love what you brought up about that, because that's super important.
Yeah, and I think a big thing too, like just going back to people calling me childish, right? Some people could take that a whole different way. Like I think confidence is really key, right? So like I purposely am childish. Like it's how I want to be. It's more fun. Like I don't know how you guys live such a robotic life. Like no, that's not me. I don't want to do that. And like having the confidence to challenge them when they say something like that, right? Like, man, you come off as like so childish. I'm like, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. And I embrace that and I want that. So I appreciate you realizing that, because some people will be like, it might be like, man, you come off so childish. You're like, yeah, you're right. I need to change. I need to make the difference. It sounds like it's something negative. I need to make that not so. Um, and I think that's a lot of where confidence even really comes from, is like being happy and okay with what's going on, what you're doing, and understanding why you're doing it. And so that when people do challenge you, you're just confident and like, no, I'm doing this on purpose. Yeah, this is what I was trying to do. Yep.
Right.
And even in cases that now that on the topic of confidence, I think this is a good thing to go over real quick,
Hmm.
because confidence is really important in a lot of areas. Like if you are confident, you can just approach and knock on doors. You can make a lot of money just by knocking on doors. And even if you don't have the best sales skills, you can just be like, hey, you want to buy a candy bar for $1? No? Okay. Knock next door. Want to buy a candy bar for $1? And if you did that enough, you could probably make $100 in a day or more. Just just by knocking doors and just asking one question. Okay.
Yeah.
Walk in the next door. Like it's not that hard to make money, to be honest, but like people are scared and not confident enough to do these things because they don't understand like the reason why they're doing it. They don't see like the value in it. They're scared of what people are gonna think about them. But if you show up like, no, I'm trying to sell these candy bars and save up for college or whatever, I don't know, like college, I don't know why I use that example. But whatever their goal is of what they're trying to say, I'm trying to get this new phone, so I'm going to go sell these candy bars door to door. I think confidence is really important because it's just really makes me how I'm so confident. And a lot of times I don't think I'm that confident because I look at people that are more confident than me. I'm like, man, how are they so confident? I must not be confident. But it just boils down to you knowing what you're doing, why you're doing it, and like what your goal was, even if it didn't work out, right? Let's say I was trying to do a thing and it failed and it messed up, and everybody's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I was trying to do this, and obviously it didn't work out. Like, calm down. Like, I'm not perfect. It's like I fumbled it. My finger got weak. I don't know what happened. My hand was sweaty. Okay, like I'm sorry this upsetted you so much, but I was just trying to help. And that's a lot of
Right.
times stuff. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to talk about confidence for a second because I think it's important.
100%. And the point you made of realizing why you're doing it then helps you become more confident. And I mean, it's like if you have goals for yourself and you're not working towards them at all, and you're choosing to just live the pleasurable and the easy life, it's like of course you don't feel confident because you're not doing what's true to you. Confidence is understanding that at the end of the day, life isn't really that serious. It's like we're all here. We're so many of us are scared to go for what we want in life, but it's like, with the idea in mind that, this might just be your one life that you ever have. It's like, number one, why not go after what you want if you have the opportunity to do so, which in most cases a lot of us do. We just choose not to because of limitations in terms of caring about what other people think. That's the primary one. And then, understanding that it's like, I'm gonna die one day and I'm no longer gonna be here. It's like, why not try and live my best life? It's just that's what I've just boiled down to for me at this point. Why not try and do what I want to do and feel fulfilled in my life? I mean, I'm only here once for most likely. So it's like, I don't want to be miserable. So let me do everything in my power to make myself not miserable and make myself
Yeah.
live a flourishing life and meet great people and have great conversations and great connections and have amazing experiences, etc., etc.
Yeah, and it's really crazy is when you die, very few people are going to think about you a year later after your
Hmm.
death, right? It's like a handful, maybe 5, 10 people, and maybe you touch a lot of lives. Maybe it's a lot more, right? But like usually, you don't think about 'em, like Alex again. We talk about Alex Ramosi a lot because I guess I'm just that big of a fanboy, but uh, uh, he brings it up with like the Queen of like England or whatever, right? Like she died and everyone's like, "Wow." But then you don't hear about it anymore all of a sudden. Like a week later, no one even cared anymore. It's like, and she was a big figure. She was huge. Did a lot of great, amazing things in her life. And like, I'm sure there's more than 10 people that think about her today. But like, you probably didn't think about her until I just mentioned her or until you heard Alex Mosey mention her last time. Right? Like, I don't think about her. I only
Yeah,
think about her because Alex Mosey talked about her recently. And the thing I saw, and I was like, yeah, it's true. It's crazy. So why do you care what people think if no one's gonna care about you after you're done? Like nothing matters. Just get out there and get what you want. Nothing matters. Like obviously you want to try and do it in a way that makes you feel good. But some people don't have that filter, right? They can just be scammy and scummy and do things. But obviously trying to do it ethically is I think important from what my
yeah,
goals are.
yeah. I
At
mean,
the end of
it's
the day, you can do it however you want. I mean, you got people in scam centers trying to call and scam old people for money, and they're doing their thing to make money, I guess. Like, I don't agree with it, but like, they ain't shy about what people think about them apparently, because they wouldn't be
that
doing
that
it if they do.
that is true.
I
That
just wish
is,
they
I
put that
think,
energy in something else more, better.
right. I think that's the one lesson you could take from people who are unethical is that they just don't care and just, but
Yeah,
but embodying the not caring in an ethical way. It's important, of course. Just something like confidence in yourself and what you're doing is really vital to spreading that energy to other people. And just, I mean, just confidence in general, I think is required. It's just like you can't really make the connections that you want if you're not confident. I mean, I think I brought this up in another conversation, and then it was on a podcast that I did. I was speaking to a rapper, and he was talking about how he went to if I remember this correctly, there was an event that he was going to go to, like a networking event, right, where there were producers and all different types of people there. And in his mind, it was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go, blah blah blah. So what he could have done is just lay in his bed and didn't go that night, but instead he went, and I think he met a producer, a few people that he made connections with, and someone helped him get a gig or a performance at a venue or whatever. And it's like him having the confidence to go there in the first place and then take the steps to talk to the people and get to know them, make those connections, changed all the difference. It's like, and then I reflected on that, and it's like, that is, confidence is what makes your dreams come true. It's like, he went there, he talked to this guy, he got booked at an event and got to perform somewhere. If whereas what most people would do, when he could have done, is said, no, I mean, it's too scary to go to the networking event and talk to these people. I'm just going to sit in bed at night. And then what you would do is you sit in bed at night and you dream, oh, I wish I could play somewhere. I wish I could. But it's like you're making this a reality. And I think when you build up the confidence to go after what you want, there's really no better feeling than making your dreams, no matter how big or small, an actual reality in your life.
yeah. And I think maybe there's not a difference, but I feel like there's a difference because I used to not be a confident person. But I was also okay with but I also didn't care what people thought. So it was like
Hmm.
I was still weird and awkward, not awkward. I was weird and I'd put myself out there and stuff. But I wasn't confident. I was just freaking, I don't know, maybe I just like being the center of attention. Maybe that was it, right? I was like
Yeah.
did something weird. I did something, put myself out there a lot because I wanted people to look at me. I don't really understand the psychology of it, but I wasn't a confident person even back then when I did that stuff. Now I'm much more confident. Now I have a goal. I know what I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, I'm walking in this direction. I'm looking for something that tells me where a bathroom is, and that's what I'm doing. And nothing's gonna stop me. I'm going to the bathroom. I keep using weird examples, but, but and I'm walking, and like a lot of people have commented on like how I walk. I'm just like go. I'm like I'm going. People get out of my way. Like I'm not looking at them. I'm just looking ahead at my goal. And people are like, "Oh shoot, this guy's gonna run into me." And then sometimes even like, and that's like obviously you move out of the way when you see like an old lady or something. You're not that's crazy, but like sometimes if it's like another person, it's like an able-bodied person, and he doesn't get out of my way. I just walk up and I'll just stop. I won't run into him. I'll just stop and then I'll shift my gaze to him, and I'll be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I just start a conversation with this guy that's in my way if he's not getting out of my way. And he was
Uh-huh.
like, and it's like this just makes this weird situation. And then they go, "What the heck's going on here? Wait, what?" And they get out of the way, and you're like, "Thanks." And you just keep walking. And I think that exudes like confidence in itself, just like being like, "I'm walking right in this path. Nothing's gonna stop me except an old lady or a child." Like I'll step out of the way real quick for them, but like otherwise, I'm this is my path I'm taking. I'm looking for the bathroom. I'm gonna find this bathroom, and no one's gonna stop me. And I think that's an important lesson because like sometimes things look like confidence, but I don't think they are confidence. But now I can feel like I am really in a place where I am confident. Even when I walk into a store, right? I've had a friend comment like call me out on this. They walked into like a Walmart or something, or we're trying to find like some electronic thing that she wanted. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm looking for this thing." I'm like, "Cool, let's go." And I start walking. And I'm just like walking into Walmart, just walking in a direction. And she was just like laughing, and I was like, "What?" So funny. She's like, "You don't even know where you're going, but you're walking so confidently. Like, what's
Uh-huh.
happening right now?" I was like, "Well, I'm sure the electronics are like back here," and they ended up being like in this other corner. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
Well, I was gonna get there eventually. Like, just because it's not here doesn't mean I'm not gonna find it. I'll find it.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
confident that I'll
it's
find it, and I think I'm gonna start with this corner." And I just made that decision, and I started walking there. And she made that comment, and I thought it was hilarious.
right. I mean, it's like you made the decision and now you're on a mission. You're on a journey to doing that. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna be
The first
confident
step
while
is
I'm doing
this.
it.
This is the first step. Like, why do you think that? Like, because that looks like a good place for electronics to be. I was wrong. Oh, it's this corner. Oh, that was pretty close. Come on, you know, give me credit.
Right.
That's pretty close.
And it's like, I mean, just in that small example, it's like you could do that, or you could walk into the Walmart and you could like your mood can be ruined of just like, where the hell is this thing? And you're just like, oh my god, I got you go over to this one section, it's not there. Like, oh my god, I'm wasting time. Oh my, and then it's like it's just you finding one thing in the store just ruins your entire day. And it's like,
Yeah,
why are we letting this happen to ourselves?
I feel like that's a pretty extreme example, but it's more like because I used to not be confident. I'd walk
Uh-huh.
into the store and I'd just look around looking lost, and all the employees would be coming up. "Oh, can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you?" Right? That's an
Yeah.
example of what would happen when I was less confident, walking in without a solid plan of attack to get to what I want. Right? Now, instead of if I don't know where something is and I know it's going to be in an aisle somewhere, and I'm like, I gotta make a best judgment. Now I just walk confident. I'm just looking down the aisles, looking down the aisles, looking down the aisles, and then if someone sees me looking down the aisles, sometimes they still ask like, "Hey, I'll find it. I'm good, thanks." Um, and then, or if I'm like, I've looked down a bunch of aisles and I'm like, "Man, I don't know." Yeah, I also have to be comfortable with asking questions. Like confidence
Yeah.
isn't always about like just pushing everybody away, right? Yeah, I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Hey," just approach someone in the store like, "Hey, are you working right now? Are you on break? You're good. Okay, cool. Do you know where the hand cream is? Like, I can't find it. I've looked in a bunch of aisles. Like, oh, it's in a weird place. It's actually all put on clearance in the back corner right now. Oh, what the heck? No wonder I couldn't find it. And I think that's the difference. Like, because I used to just have like a resting, confused face. I think I still have it sometimes. Because some people are like, "Are you confused?" I'm like, "Oh no, I'm just thinking. Sorry." But like, uh, it was such a recurring thing. I'm like, what is it about me that makes people think I'm so lost? Like, I'm not lost. Leave me alone. And so now it's like I found the trick for me was like I just have to have the goal in mind and just be going towards that goal,
Hmm.
whether it's right or wrong, or I have a plan of attack of that's gonna eventually get me to the result. But then it is like walking down, just looking down the aisle, or just like walking, use my peripherals and be like, okay, we're about the candy. What I'm looking for is like soup, so it's probably over here. And this like, oh, here's some canned stuff. Oh, this is canned fruit, so it's probably not here. Like, all right, well, like having that plan attack. I'm like, okay, here we go. It's been a big game changer for me, and people stop me asking me what I'm doing all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing is just moving towards something. It's like just
Yeah.
having, even if it's at the end of the day not the overall goal that's going to be your life path or something, it's like at least you're moving towards something. Because I think a lot of us are
Mhm.
just sleepwalking. We're just blindly walking in random directions. We're like, oh, well, what's going on? So,
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
walking with a purpose makes a big difference too.
right. Yeah,
So
100%. Kyle, really appreciate you coming on today. It's been a great conversation.
yeah, man, best podcast you've had yet. I'm kidding.
Yes, 100%.
I'm just messing around, but yeah, no, I'm super happy we did this, man, and hopefully you invite me on another time. I'd be great, happy to be another guest, and hopefully we talk about other things, or I hope I don't
Absolutely.
bring up a bunch of the same stuff.
I'm 100% down. So thanks for
Heck yeah.
tuning in, guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one.